stand up if you can. Please. Just for a moment, I'm going to ask you to just move your body in a strange kind of way. Will you do it? This is about the space to create. No, I will not. Yes, you can. Just move your body. Just not in a cool kind of way. Not in a cool. It's hard not to be cool, isn't it? But just in a free kind of way. Just a little bit. Don't worry. This isn't 18 minutes worth. Just a few seconds. But I'm not quitting until you do. Okay? I'll explain why later. It will serve you, I promise. Thank you. Thank you for playing. That wasn't so bad, was it? It was torture. Thank you for playing. I'll explain why later that I ask you to do such things. In fact, I'll explain just a little bit right now. The electron moves outside of its normal, predictable electron cloud 5% of the time. And that's when pure, infinite possibility is captured. And so I'm asking you to do unfamiliar things every once in a while, just to move into a creative capacity. I am not a quantum scientist. I'm not an epigeneticist. I'm not even a research biologist. But I am a doctor who has had the great honor of working with tens of thousands of people around the world over the past 25 years in the work of removing subconscious interference to the nervous system and to the electromagnetic energy system in the body. And I'm here today to speak to you about creativity. Creativity in the sense that you are more creative than you think. In fact, you are more creative than you can think. There is more to you than meets the eye. In fact, there is more to you than meets the mind, oftentimes. And so I'm going to share these concepts with you in the next few moments. If we take all of the energy in all of creation, that's a lot. If it were all present here in this room at the same time, do you know what the experience would be? Nothing. There would be no experience because there is no point of relativity. Everything would be here. We know hot because we know cold. We know light because we know dark. We know points of relativity. And so in the concept of working with quantum science and how it applies in our physical reality, we're going to try to bring it down to a concept that we can exchange about today. If we start compressing that energy, compress it down and down and down, further and further and further and further, as you know, we eventually create physical form. And when we study physical form, when we go into the physical matter and study it at the molecular level and the atomic level and the subatomic level, eventually we get to the smallest particle known to us. And inside that particle, there is nothing. The same nothing that is present with the everything that is. And what science has determined is that there is no basic element to life. There is only form. Energy is held together in certain forms, and we participate in that with our beliefs and our thoughts. And our creativity is affected in that way, how we hold the energy in our lives. So when I ask you to do something unfamiliar, it's because I'm asking you to step outside of the box, because the box is really only a box 95% of the time anyway. The rest of the time, it's pure potentiality. So let me just kind of make this simple, if I can. I'm going to use my high-tech. Yeah? Does it work? Simple enough so far? Yes, of course it is. Physical matter. This is the physical you, your physical body, your physical life. And inside this compressed state is the reality that we experience, the universe between our ears, so to speak. And if we reverse this process that I just described of compressing the energy down more and more and more until we get to physical matter, we're going to now reverse this process and reveal the various energies that comprise us as a human being. So if we move off of the physical state and release the pressure just a little bit and allow a little bit more motion in between the molecules, in between the particles, we get to what is referred to as an etheric field, something that is measurable with Kirlian photography. We can assign different variations to different energy wavelengths, and we can then observe it through computer enhancement. So we know that this is here, and you know that it's there. You've experienced it if you're walking in the woods and you're walking one direction and you are looking in another direction, and you duck just before a tree branch hits you in the eye. What's happening is that tree branch is penetrating this electromagnetic energy field that radiates and emanates off the physical body before it actually hit you physically. You're experiencing another part of you, whether your five senses are picking up on it or not. So our idea with creativity is to is to begin to manage more of the energies of who we are without just relying on our five senses, to really move into, well, what is the rest of me, the parts of me that aren't so tangible, and could I manage those in a different way that might allow me to allow creativity to drop into my world more regularly. And so this is what we are moving into. When we release the pressure a little more in this arena, what we see is another waveform, another spectra of energies that is referred to as our emotions, our feelings, our emotions. They are higher frequency energies than our physical matter. It's easier to change emotion than it is to change our physical body, right? And so if we increase that a little bit more, release and allow a little bit more expansion, we land at another aspect of the human system, which is not our physical, etheric, or our emotional self, but our body of thoughts. Our body of thoughts, reoccurring thoughts that we regularly have that raise our vibrational frequency in one way or another off of the half a Gauss and 10 cycles a second that nature would have us be operating on. So if we think thoughts that rev us up into particular states, it is easy to move out of our natural state. And yet if we think thoughts that resonate with this natural state, it allows us to be in touch with, connect the dots, if you will, be joining with nature to a much greater capacity. When we create interference in this way, it keeps us from being able to operate in a healing manner. It keeps us from being able to operate in an ingenuity frame of reference. So as we release these energies to an even greater degree, let me get this picture up for us, and then we'll have a bit of a conversation about it. The next level would be the nature that I'm referring to. This is the part of you that is the same as the rest of all of creation. So it's the thing we have in common, the thing that we share with nature. So this energy, as we know that all of creation is always expanding, it is always moving the highest frequency energies into the more dense frequency energies. And as it does so, it's kind of bringing light into the density. And in that, what happens is it expands. And so if we can see the dynamic here, it is always moving toward the physical in this way. Now, we as human beings have the capacity to think thoughts. We reject things, we resist things, we create friction for ourselves. And in doing so, we throw up a different energy frequency into this pattern. In throwing up that different energy frequency, what we're doing is drawing conclusions. We're saying, this should not have happened in my life. That should not have happened. This is right. This is wrong. We have free will to make these determinations. And in doing so, we create a different frequency that our body then has to respond to. So this is just like sunlight coming to a plant. Sunlight coming to a plant allows photosynthesis to occur. When we receive this high frequency energy, it allows this system to vibrate at its highest potential. And in the most amazing part of this whole picture, we are given an ability to meet up with the concept of nature through an energy that resides in the human heart. The human heart is the bioelectric powerhouse in the body, more so than the brain. It's 40 times to 60 times more powerful than the energies that are emitted from the brain, the human heart. It penetrates every cell of the body, and it penetrates off of the body 8 to 10 at least feet in every direction. So it is an energy waveform that is generated by your ability to coherently resonate with feelings and emotions such as love, forgiveness, compassion, acceptance, embrace, and so forth. So when we elicit these vibrations that we are capable of, and we elicit them into this energy field, it has the capacity to dissolve this interference. The interference occurs in this way. If this high frequency energy is attempting to reach us at our physical life and allow us to be our full potential, and yet it is hitting up against beliefs that we have put in place somewhere along the way, it bounces back unto itself and it can't get in. So it's just like shading between the sunlight and the plant. It doesn't get into your experience. So you aren't receiving the full capacity of energies that are available to you to make the decisions and to live the life and to heal and to be the creative individual that you're choosing to be. So we have the capacity to emanate in this way outwardly and dissolve this interference that exists between the two. And in doing so, an energy that is 2.5 times stronger than the energy that put this here, our thoughts of frustration, fear, anger, and hate, are generated at 0.1 microvolts. Our thoughts, feelings of love, forgiveness, acceptance, ingenuity, possibility, these kinds of emotions that we generate from the heart space also generate an electromagnetic energy, which is 0.25 microvolts. So it doesn't stand a chance in the face of this. So what we want to do is allow ourselves to move into a state of acceptance to a greater degree. So when we are attempting to create something, when we're blocked on something that we're trying to find a solution for, the answer is not to think more. The answer is to inject a different vibration into the picture to allow this to soften. And here is why that is essential when it comes to the human physical experience. This energy moving all the way to your physical life provides a coherent, comprehensive message that bombards the physical body. And at the physical body level, we now know that there is a communication system in the body. What the study of biology is showing us today is that the nervous system isn't the only communication system that's happening. It's not the only way that our body runs itself and it defends itself in the world and produces and is productive. So there is another form of communication, many, one of which is that fact that on the surface of every cell in your body are radio antenna receptor sites, if you will, that through a series of protein reactions emit communication. So what epigenetics is showing us, for instance, is that our genes are no longer solely responsible for our experience in the physical world. It is rather that our environment turns on certain genes or doesn't. And it's not the environment out there only that is being polluted that is the one I'm referring to. It's the environment here in our personal space that is greatly being influenced. And that environment is being influenced by the thoughts that we think and the things that we put into place and the amount of interference that it can create for us. If we're putting something into place that doesn't allow the natural frequencies to bombard the surface of our cells, the surface of our cells have no choice but to send a message to the central nervous system saying, hey, we're getting a message here that's not so coherent. It's not comprehensive. It could have interference in it, which signals a potential danger, And so breathing here from the core of our center creates a physiology that shifts the potential for us to be activating this central nervous system into a fight or flight response. That central nervous system has no choice but to react in one of two ways when it finally receives that message that has been bombarding the surface of this cell. It can only ever either move into a fight or flight response or move into a healing, creative capacity. Those are its two choices. Filtering, cleansing, healing, digesting, innovation occurs when we are not under attack. It's pretty hard to be creative when a bear is chasing you. Have you noticed? Yeah. So what we want to do is create the environment, create the communication system, create the reality that our cells get to experience something that is, a little more safe than what it might have been receiving. So what does that mean? It means we have to make resolve with these grievances. It means we have to change our mind about these things. Yeah. Because if we don't, it has no choice but to continue to function as it is. It sends the message it receives, and the message that it's receiving at the surface of the cell is, we could potentially be in danger here. So we cannot possibly move into a healing or creative capacity when that kind of potential danger is in front of us. So, all the greats tell us that it was in the face of frustration and the angst of the pain, the friction of being perplexed and confused. Einstein, Edison, they all make reference to the fact that it was in the face of that and that they released, they just let go, they just let it go, that the idea came through, that putting it together occurred to them. Not when they were thinking, but when they were awake and lucid. They were awake and lucid, but not thinking when the answer actually came. So we have to refine our minds to define what the question is, what the question really is. And then we have to release into the rest of us and allow some aspect of us to be receiving a more comprehensive signal from out there to in here, if we're ever going to be able to downshift into this space that allows for ultimate creativity. So in the short time that we have together, I'd like to give you some experience of that. If you take just a deep breath in, just exhale. A deep breath in. Breathe low in the belly. Breathe in. Pull your belly out. When you exhale, contract the belly. This draws the oxygen down into the body, the lower lobes of the lungs. More oxygenation, better signal. Activates the parasympathetic nervous system to a greater degree, decreasing fight or flight and allowing us to move into a safe zone. Hold your vision and breathe here. What is it you would have create for yourself? What is it you would have be true for you? Personally, feel it now. Feel it deep in the core. And without thinking, perceive in the silence what is happening. Right there. Breathe it to life, if you will. Imagine letting go of the things that have created this reality. What is it I have held on to that I don't need to hold on to, perhaps? What is it that I could let go of? What is it? And hold that awareness. What you would have be true in your life. Take a stand. Stand up. Move your body with that. Come on, I know you can do it. Come on, I know you can do it. Come on. Very good. Very good. Very good. See, it didn't hurt too bad, did it? Moving the body in the presence of this acceptance opens a door for us by releasing the grievances that we have held in place over time. So raise your arms up over your head, deep breath in, and celebrate you. Thank you very much.